Hello, anybody home? Hello? Anybody here? What happened to the T-Rex that used to be here? Gary?
Oh, hi, Eric.
I'm not Eric. Hello, followers. Dino Artist Fanatic, aka Andrew Shepard here. So as many of you know, I am a huge dinosaur lover. And as with many dino fans, my love for these creatures stemmed from when I was a child, ranging from Jurassic Park to The Land Before Time to 3D Dinosaur Adventure. Anyone play that game? I also rented a lot of educational videos from my library as well, much to probably my family's frustration. And one of those videos that I rented was a 1980s documentary called More Dinosaurs, hosted by the late Gary Owens and his friend Eric Boardman. And one of my favorite things about the special was the house used as a sort of stand-in for Gary Owens' house. However, it wouldn't be until I was older and got to use the internet that I learned the house actually did not belong to Gary, but instead it belonged to Donald F. Glut, a dinosaur scholar, independent filmmaker, musician, and a contributor to various TV shows in the 80s and 70s as well, would you say?
Mostly 70s, into the 80s.
And to my Star Wars followers and friends, this is the man who wrote the novelization for The Empire Strikes Back. So, if you read that, here's the man.
These are, all these big kind of clunky, old-fashioned giant figures are all mechanical creatures. They work. They're a little dusty, rusty now, so I won't turn them on. But they were made for an exhibit called The World a Million Years Ago by a company called Mesmore and Damon. And they made their debut at the 1933 Chicago World's Fair. And they were in fact, if you look over there, this is a mock-up of it. This is the model of the dome that these figures were exhibited in. You would go inside and you would be on a moving trackway, like a moving sidewalk. Mm-hmm. And then you would pass all these mechanical figures that were kind of state-of-the-art for 1933. And they moved all over. They went to the 1939 New York World's Fair. They went to Chicago's Old Town. I mean, they played all over. The ones that I don't have and wound up in Japan someplace in a nightclub. But I was lucky to get these.
That's the Brontosaurus and the Mammoth that were too big for your house?
Yes. I tried to get the head from the Brontosaurus, but they wouldn't sell just the head.
Well, you're really lucky.
I did take measurements, but the Brontosaurus would have fit. It would have started in this room and gone through the rest of the house. And the Mammoth was 15 feet high, so I passed on those.
Now, obviously the ride itself wasn't accurate. It was like about as inaccurate a depiction of the world a million years ago as it was. But how accurate were the creatures, would you say?
Oh, they were pretty fanciful. I don't think they weren't like based on any skeletons like sculptors, the good sculptors do. They were like the Brontosaurus was built over a table, and the four legs were the table legs, so that's how they did those things back then. But the public loved them. And then they did a giant gorilla head because it was 1933, and that's when King Kong premiered.
That's amazing. Now, you say they still work. Do you have any idea as to what it is that's allowed them to be able to do that like 90 years later?
Well, the motors are like simple washing machine motors and things, with pulleys and all kinds of things. And I've been having some problems with them and trying to get them fixed, but trying to get old technology fixed is not that easy, especially in the where we are today. So
Nonetheless, this is just really, you're just a really lucky guy. This is cool. I would love to have a pteranodon like this on one of my apartment counters.
and it takes sometimes, a long time to get them warmed up and started. The pteranodon is pretty spectacular when he gets going, but
Now, I do remember from that, watching a newsreel clip of the pteranodon, and it showed its head was like going up and down.
yeah, and the mouth was opening and closing.
Now, it doesn't seem to do that anymore.
Well, last time I tried it, it did. It just takes a little while. See how the mouth is a little bit more open now.
Yeah.
And when he gets going, he gets going.
Nonetheless, it's really just, again, cool that these still work. And 1933 animatronics, that's just really amazing. Does it make that, like, sort of screeching noise?
Yeah,
by
but I
itself?
think the screeching is actually just creaking of the parts and things. I don't think. Oh, look at that! It's starting to open up a little bit more.
Yeah, again, just really cool.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Nice teeth.
And then this mosasaur or ichthyosaur, whatever it is, that works too, but not right now. We're looking for some parts for it in Las Vegas, actually.
Oh. Wow, this is surreal. And over here we have the cave bears from the same exhibit. I imagine the real cave bears would have been a lot taller.
This guy actually had a mechanism on the bottom that made him swing out at the visitors, but that took up like half my room here, so I disconnected that.
So now I want to talk about the models you see here on this shelf. One of the dinosaur figures series that my dad collected when I was a kid, and which I've continued collecting now, are figures from the Carnegie collection, which
Yeah, there are a lot of those here. They're all kind of mixed up, so it's hard to really pick anything out of anything that's special.
nonetheless, I'm finally seeing for the first time a few models that I've never seen in person, and I just always liked the detail on these guys, including like the older ones. As a matter of fact, one that I would like to highlight is this Carnotaur right here. He goes for super big bucks on eBay, and I was lucky enough to find one in a set being sold locally on Facebook Marketplace for $30 altogether. So that was a lucky find. Still trying to find this guy, but he's always going for big on eBay.
They had quite a few of these in the gift shop at the Los Angeles Museum. I don't know if you checked that out.
They don't have them anymore. They discontinued the set, I think, in 2015. And another one I would like to highlight, not exactly a Carnegie figure, but this rearing Diplodocus figure from the Boston Museum of Natural History. I was so close to getting that in a set I also saw on Facebook Marketplace for $10. Like, this close, and someone beats me to it.
Well, I was lucky because the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County, where I'm a volunteer, their gift shop for a while was getting everything. And I got most of this stuff there.
Yeah, and this is just something I observed at the American Museum, where I've been to a few times in my life. The dinosaur souvenirs nowadays aren't nearly as iconic as they used to be.
You know where I got that big T-Rex?
Where?
Look at all those cobwebs up there. I got that at a swap meet in Las Vegas.
Damn.
I got actually several dinosaur figures at that swap meet. Just walking around, and one of the vendors had these things hanging up on the wall. I immediately bought them.
I'm pretty big with flea markets too, so that's where most of my dinos come from. Actually, while we're on the subject, I know as a kid you said that you always wanted to have your own dinosaur park, but did you also always want to have like your house decorated with dinosaur stuff?
Well, that's an interesting story. The cats have been walking around up here again. When I was married years ago, if I wanted to get something like a dinosaur figure or something, first I would have to ask my wife, can we afford it? And then where is it going to go? And it usually either went in my office or the garage. The rest of the house was hers to do whatever she wanted with. And then we got divorced, and I moved into this house. And I got a phone call early on from a friend of mine who worked at the Natural History Museum here in Los Angeles, who worked in the fossil where I am a volunteer now, and she was making casts of different dinosaur specimens. And they had, at the time, what was the largest known T-Rex skull. And she said, I can make you up one of these T-Rex skulls at half price. And the first thing that went through my mind was, well, at first I got to ask my wife where we're going to put it, or if we can afford it, and then where's it going to go? And I said, I don't have to do that anymore. This is all my money, and it's my house, and I can do whatever I want. And that's when everything kind of hit the fan, and it just started growing from there.
Ooh. If I had enough space in my apartment, I definitely would love to have this. A cast of what was once the largest Tyrannosaur skull ever discovered. About 1980, you said you owned this? That's amazing. Well, and as Gary Owens did, I'm gonna try sticking my head in here. Ooh, this feels kind of grisly.
Okay.
Boy, were these 6-inch jobs something to truly reckon with. So this skull you see here is the very first item that we see at the start of More Dinosaurs. However, the funny thing is, it's not even a dinosaur, correct?
No, it's a mammal. It's a coyote from the La Brea tar pits. So it's prehistoric, it's extinct, but it's not a dinosaur.
Yep, I always had a sneaking suspicion that wasn't a dinosaur, but it was always really cool seeing the blue light sticking up on that thing. There's the Tyrannosaurus that, I believe it's the Tyrannosaurus that Eric touches as he's coming down into the the den. Yeah, that thing looks really badass. I have some of these guys here, thanks to a theater friend who was giving some old dinosaur stuff from a friend. Yeah, these are ultra rare, but they're really cool. And just all these like individual books that are all about prehistoric life. I'm a very slow reader, but just like to have all these on a shelf would just like be really, really amazing. Now what we see here is art that was done by one of the most significant artists in the history of paleo art named Charles R. Knight. Sort of like the James Gurney of the early 19th century. And Don here has done a lot of work involving preserving Knight's history, right?
Yeah, I had to, Sylvia Cherkis and I did a book called Dinosaurs, Mammoths, and Cavemen, The Art of Charles R. Knight some years ago. And we both able to get nice collections of original artwork by him. And Knight was, you know, when I was a kid, that was the only name I ever saw in books under artwork. In fact, his was the first artist I knew by name. So there's very inspirational for me.
Sort of like what James Gurney is to me today, like the paleo artist whose work inspires me the
and
most.
since I grew up in Chicago, at the Field Museum, they had those wonderful murals he did, and I could go up there and look at those great murals.
And those are the original murals that they have on display there?
Yeah.
I've seen those too. They're really cool. So this right here this is a real significant piece of prehistoric life, in the history of prehistoric life in our modern time.
Yeah, that is the first painting, as far as I know, ever done in North America of Mesozoic reptiles. And it was done in the 1800s, middle 1800s, by Archibald M. Willard. Now, Archibald M. Willard is very famous because he did the famous Yankee Doodle painting. The three guys, one with the flag, and one with the fife, and one with the drum.
Mm-hmm.
And this is on his missing paintings list, and I have it on my wall.
So what qualifies it as a missing painting, even though it clearly it does exist?
Well, there's a museum in Cleveland that has most of his work, and they're always trying to get a complete collection, but they don't have this.
Well, again, you're a lucky guy. Now, how was it that you obtained this incredible piece of history?
I was on a vacation in Chicago on New Year's Day. I happened to be walking around this street called Halstead, where there are a lot of old antique shops and curio shops and things. And I used to bug those people, any dinosaur stuff, because I was always looking for World's Fair things, and they were getting kind of tired of hearing from me asking that question. So one day, on New Year's Eve, I went in this one shop, and I said, "Do you have any dinosaur stuff?" And the guy just kind of pointed and goes, "On the corner, go to the shop on the corner," you know. So I went in the shop, and I asked the guy, and the guy was kind of bored, and I said, the proprietor, and I said, "I heard you have some kind of a dinosaur picture or something." And he goes like that, and he points. And he wanted to get, I said, "Well, how much do you want for that?" You know? And he said, "Well, I want $500, frame included."
Woo!
I would have paid a lot more. And he said, "But it's New Year's, and I want to get ready to go to a party. For $450, it's yours." And I wrote him a check immediately. And there it is.
That's amazing. One of my favorite pieces, group of things that you have here in your collection are some of these really valuable looking ceramics. There's just something about the way they shine that really just...
Well, I'll tell you, you haven't seen these yet then. Come here.
Okay.
These I love because they're from the early to mid 1950s.
Ooh.
Wait, there's a light I can...
Ooh. Oh, they look really cool. Yeah. I have all these Jurassic Park ceramics that you see right here. But the rest of this... Oh, man, I would give anything
They're
to find
pretty
these.
dusty. It's hard, putting them all back and everything.
I know that feeling. Dusting is something that I sometimes have trouble finding the time to do at my own place. Ooh, I've never seen that one before. Is that
That's the
tar pit?
Coyote figure again.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Looks like something from the Liberated tar pits. It's really cool.
Sculptures. There's a whole set of them. There's a mammoth. There's a pteranodon. There's a tarbosaurus. And that was based on a Burion painting. These other ones probably were too. They all were made, and as far as I know, what they told me in the store, they were made in Italy.
And I do just want to highlight one of my favorite props from More Dinosaurs was this Dimetrodon ceramic. And if there was anything that I wish I could, in this house that I wish I could find at the next flea market I could go to, it's this. I would just love to have that standing somewhere on the ground, sort of like how it was when Eric walks past it in the opening montage.
Oh, I can't remember. That was done so long ago.
I know you're a big historian when it comes to dinosaur movies. Of all the dinosaur movies that you've seen, what do you consider the worst one you've seen?
One of the worst one?
Yeah.
God, that could be all. I think maybe the Mighty Gorga might be the worst.
The one that has the toy.
Yeah. That's just atrocious. But I like some of the bad ones. I like the ones that use 1 million BC footage. I love Unknown Island, which is a really funky movie. But I love that movie. I can watch it over and over and over again.
And what would you say is your favorite dinosaur movie of all time?
I think to this day, and a lot of it is because of nostalgia. Well, the original King Kong and the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
Both great movies.
Yeah.
Gojira would have to be mine, but if we were counting creatures that aren't based on real dinosaurs, it's an easy win for Jurassic Park for me.
Yeah.
So here's a room with a lot of stuff that I collect. I have one of each of those dinosaurs up there from the Play School toy line. I don't collect the hatchlings, though. I'll have one of every creature once I have the Ceratosaurus. And then up here I see we have a few of the ever 90s iconic Jurassic Park toys.
Yeah, some Dino Riders.
I collect these guys too, but I do not collect the armor.
And then more Kyoto stuff. This whole cabinet, it's just loaded with Kyoto stuff.
Damn. Again, Mr. Galoot, I could just pour over this for hours. This is just... Ooh, it's mind-blowingly cool. I have that Red Rex and that Godzilla and that UKRD Stegosaurus all around my place. I gotta tell you, a house full of dinosaur stuff is just... it's to die for. And you've made excellent use of all the great space that you have. Ooh, I love that tall Godzilla figure. That's from King Kong vs. Godzilla, I believe.
I don't think it is, but it could be. I don't know. I never thought about it.
And then over here is the Rhedosaurus from Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. As you said, it's one of your favorites. Yeah, again, it's just so much really cool stuff. And seeing this stuff in person is just an amazing privilege. So this is where you do most of your writing, would you say?
Yeah, all of it, actually.
More and more and more. And a lot of really neat... Ooh, there's Ray Harryhausen, the legend, the man. Along with a Lemur, I see her. And the dragon from Sinbad. And there's the Rex from Land Unknown. That would eventually become the pet in the Munsters.
Yeah.
There's Victor Mature and Carol Landis from 1 Million BC. And then over here, is this Haruo Nakajima?
Yes, it is.
And there's the guy who succeeded him.
Yeah, right.
Oop. And good old Earl. And I see there's, looks like Bill Beretta's signature.
I can't remember his name, but I couldn't make it out. But I knew I met his wife at a party, and she got me the photo. He did the voiceover.
Yep. Oh, and here's Caroline Munro.
Yep.
And that's the guy from Golden, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. And what is this skull of?
That is a mosasaur skull, a cast. And I got these all from that same woman.
The same one?
Mary O'Donnell, yeah. She had the contracts for various specimens, and she would sell them to me for half price. So I couldn't resist.
Again, I've said this several times, but you are a lucky guy. And here's some of the stuff you've written.
Yeah. All the books you see in this room, pretty much, except the Frankenstein Dracula shelves over there, are things I wrote. Same with here and there.
Oh.
I'm running out of space.
Oh, I do collect these guys. I have most of the ones you see here. A lot of these guys are ultra rare. Yeah, again, just... Oh, there's a T-Rex trophy head. Oh.
Not that it does much good. There's the old Millers up there.
I've never seen any of these guys in the wild. Are those from the... What decade are these from? What decade are these guys from?
They were sold in 10-cent stores when I was a kid. And I think they were 39 cents a piece or something like that. Now they're hundreds of dollars. When I was a kid, I went to a park in South Dakota called Dinosaur Park, and I always wanted my own dinosaur park. So now I've got one. And most of these were made in the Philippines. see I'm running out of room here, I'm running out of space. But this is my backyard.
Well, it's definitely some space that's well used. I mean, if I had a backyard right now, I definitely would want something like this myself. Anyone watching who grew up with More Dinosaurs remembers at the end of the special, Gary and Eric try to sneak out the back way to escape the T-Rex with 4 fingers. And Gary says, "Eric, I don't have a basement." Well, here's your chance to find out the truth about this house having a basement or not.
I don't have a basement either. I had one in Chicago and I grew up as a kid. It's one of the only things I miss from Chicago is the basement. It's like having a separate house. Think about all the stuff I could put in that basement.